With the freedom given to them by their newly invented automobiles, some people explored the land, but others turned a restless eye to the new frontier, the sky. Since time began, people have dreamed of unlocking the secrets of flight. Many try, but it's not until the 20th century that someone finally succeeds. Two brothers working out of a bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio, are dreaming up a machine that will carry a man into the sky like a bird. People think it's ridiculous, but the Wright brothers have faith in their wood and canvas contraption. In 1903, on a stretch of beach in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, Orville Wright shakes hands with his brother and straps himself into their flyer to make a daring attempt that will take human history into the skies. The flyer is mounted on a track facing the ocean and the onshore wind. Orville revs up the motor, and his brother Wilbur releases the restraining cable. Only 5 spectators witness the moment, including a Coast Guard patrolman who watches in disbelief as the craft went off with a rush and left the rail as pretty as you please, as pretty as any bird you ever laid your eyes on. The Wright's achievement opens the door to a new era of daring aviation that constantly pushes the envelope of human flight. During the Great War, Zeppelins and airplanes come into play as tools of warfare. Each one's mission is to prowl the skies, strafing and dropping bombs on enemy lines. And when they meet in the air, it's usually the vulnerable Zeppelins that go down in fiery crashes. But the airplanes have their own enemies to worry about on the ground. Anti-aircraft batteries send up great bursts of flak, downing unlucky pilots. And when the airplanes meet in the skies over Europe, they engage each other in intense dogfights. These fights, high above the battlefields, produced the first flying aces among the British Royal Air Force pilots and their German counterparts, like the infamous Baron von Richthofen. In peacetime, daring aviators risked life and limb to ensure that the new airmail got through. In 1927, Charles Linberd gears up for an attempt at crossing the Atlantic Ocean from New York to Paris. He stuns the world when his famous airplane, the Spirit of St. Louis, is spotted over the French capital. Linberd becomes an instant hero. Amelia Earhart follows, bringing women into the aviation record books. She's met with adoration from around the globe upon her return to New York City. Years later, she and her navigator would disappear without a trace during an ill-fated attempt to fly around the globe. Radio operators reported hearing her faint calls, but her fate remains a mystery. Fresh from his Rough Rider fame in the Spanish-American War in Cuba, Teddy Roosevelt rides into the State House of New York, startling his fellow Republicans with his ideas of reform and regulation of the very businesses that support the Republican Party. Consequently, his constituents conspire to place Roosevelt in an office where his ideas could do no damage to the party, the vice presidency. Memorably, Senator Mark Hanna remarks, "Don't any of you realize there's only one life between this madman and the presidency?" In September 1901, an assassin's bullet kills President William McKinley, making Senator Mark Hanna's fear a reality. At 42, Theodore Roosevelt becomes the youngest president in American history. He brings a new age of progressive politics. One of the defining events of Roosevelt's presidency, and indeed of the budding age of industry, is the construction of the Panama Canal. In 1903, he declares that the policy of the country is a canal under American control. He fosters an American-backed revolution to create an independent Panama. One of Roosevelt's key negotiating points, the American warship Nashville, anchors off the Colombian coast. And so, Latin America is introduced to a tumultuous relationship with its overbearing neighbor, and the meaning of Teddy Roosevelt's famous proverb, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." With the canal zone secured, the colossal task of digging a path large enough to accommodate the bulk of freighters and battleships begins. Excavation is not the only problem the engineers face. Construction crews contract malaria and yellow fever, which breeds in the tropical jungles. With techniques learned in the Spanish-American War, crews spray the bush surrounding the canal to combat these deadly diseases. In 1914, after 3 presidents, 2 project engineers, and 11 years of work, the canal is finally finished.